Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Player Driven. Today, we are joined by Joe Pace. He is the VP at ASICS Ventures, and they built a new VR game that I'm really excited to be able to talk about. Joe, you have a really cool background. You're at ASICS, you were at Legendary Entertainment, you've done a lot. You were at LLB, and you did so many cool things. Welcome to Player Driven. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Greg. I appreciate you taking the time. And yeah, I'm lucky enough to work for ASICS and help us build new digital products that help us spread our mission of helping people achieve a sound mind and a sound body. Um, I think a big part of my background is really about physical activity, which is why I'm so passionate about working at this company in the first place. I've done startups in the past. I've played sports my whole life. I'm a big fitness fan and have a very active yoga practice and fitness regimen. And I really live a lot of the mission of ASICS. And so, um, yeah, we can get into any specifics of my background that are relevant, but really at the end of the day, I'm really excited to build new products that help people move and get people physically acquainted and familiar with their bodies and get into good habits. And our project disc that we recently just launched through our ventures arm of the company is a really exciting one for us because it helps us achieve multiple things at once. It is, in one case, a new business venture. Of course, we want to build something that we can reinvest in and ultimately has sound business fundamentals underneath it and supporting it. But with the mission towards reaching audiences and inspiring people to be physically active in new ways, of course, we love all of the physical products that we ship around the world, and it's one that we're well known for. And at the same time, there are other ways that we can reach people and achieve that same mission through digital channels as well. So that's where Disc comes in. We can talk more about that and my background or whatever is useful, whatever you think is interesting.
We're going to touch on it all, but the first thing I want to ask is, over the past year, you've said you're big into working out. Is there a particular type of training or working out that you tend to prefer over others?
Yeah, for sure. I have a good mix. It's been decades of dabbling, so come quite a long way. I understand myself and what I like and what works. And now having kids, it's a whole different wrinkle. I used to have all day to figure out when and how I was going to work out. Now it's like I have this amount of time. I want to do these certain things. This is what I can do. But yeah, typically these days I'm doing a lot of strength training, and I love free weights. I think it's just so dynamic, and you do a lot in one go. Certain movements, especially functional movements, are just so valuable for everyday life. Like I just feel my goal with strength training overall is just to feel strong and coordinated and capable of doing whatever I want to do with my body, not in any sort of amount of excess. So it's really nice. I've found a nice happy ground. I'm not trying to jack up crazy weight
Not
anymore
yet.
these days. And same thing with cardio. I'm a big Peloton fan, so um, I love the whole system they have going, and I've learned a lot just by using the product. I think it's one of the best products in the world as it relates to connected fitness and fitness in general. And so, yeah, probably not the only person who thinks that, but I'm a big fan of that ecosystem.
I used to have a Peloton right over here.
Oh, what
I
happened?
love. I got it before COVID, and I loved it. I went crazy with it. I used it like 300 days in a row at some point,
Oh,
and
wow.
then
Okay.
I got into strength training, and I just loved strength training so much. And I hate cardio. I've always hated cardio, but I liked the
Oh, wow.
Peloton because that got me going. But like, once the stigma of COVID was gone, and people were going to the gym more often again. It's just like I always worked remote. I was just like, I need to get out of my house. I can't just be going here
I
and coming
see.
back here and going back
Yeah.
here. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to start going to the gym more often.
Yeah.
And I
So it
still
gets
just
you
hate
out of the it
cardio.
gets you out of the house
Yeah.
while helping you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Cool, cool. So you go
I
to a
think
local gym, I'm assuming.
I go to a personal trainer. I go to
Oh,
his.
cool.
He has a gym, so I kind of locked in. It helped me. I've been a gamer. I've been a tech guy my whole life, and this is why I'm excited about this conversation because it's fun to bring VR or tech or gaming into the working out world. And I learned that I didn't love working out at first, but it helped me get rid of so much stress that was there, and just it
Totally.
was a relief, right? And I felt better about myself, right? I still drink. I don't drink as much as I do, but it kind of started as like, all right, I'm going to work out and I'll be able to drink and I won't feel as bad. And then all of a sudden it's like, all right,
Right.
I drank last
That's not
night.
how
The
it
gym
works.
sucks today. So then it's kind of like, then you start kind of weaning off. And now I have kids, so I'm reverting back to drinking because that's the only way I can get through the day.
Yeah,
It's just a
sure, sure.
terrible
Well,
cycle.
you're touching on something that I think is really like yeah, I think about every day, on a personal level, on a professional level. It's this idea of like physical activity in whatever way that works for you is not just a physical benefit, but there is the mental benefits as well. And you don't even realize it while you're doing it. Sometimes it's hard to even just get started moving, but if you can break through that resistance and break through that friction and get yourself moving and get yourself active, there are so many physical benefits, there are so many mental benefits, and that's where what we're thinking with disc is, can you get lost in the sport like you do when you're getting to a flow state, whether it's running or playing basketball or whatever team sport or individual sport. You forget you're exercising, and which makes it easier to get through that barrier, to get through that friction that maybe is preventing you from starting that physical activity. But then once you're in it, you're flowing, you're moving, and it eventually ends. And now you have all these physical and mental benefits that you get to enjoy, which hopefully create this virtuous cycle that you want to come back to it. And that friction up front becomes reduced over time. We're reducing the friction to creating these really positive habits. So that's what we're trying to achieve with a lot of the work we're doing.
So let's dig into that, right? So ASICS Ventures was specifically designed for that, to take a look at kind of the new tooling, the new things that are available to athletes or runners. I guess
Yep.
ASICS are shoes, right? So are you focusing on any type of movement as just finding a different way to get people to move?
Yeah. Yeah. I think in one case, right, we're known for our running shoes. It's a really big category for us. We have other sport categories as well. And we do, we're not, we're aware of the trends in the world and where, how popular gaming is and how popular digital experiences are, apps of all kinds. And for us, we love the idea of competition inspiring you to be physically active and put yourself out there and try new things and fail and succeed, and at the end of the day it all nets out to this physical and mental benefit you're improving over time. And looking at gaming, looking at traditional flat games in general, we understand that they're extremely popular. Um, it, it's hard for us to find where we fit and where we make sense and how we can actually create value there. But when we looked at VR specifically, and even more specifically on the Meta Quest platform, we see a lot of people around the world being physically active in gaming. We also noticed that there aren't many definitive sports that sort of represent the VR category. And so we looked at that as a opportunity to say, maybe that is a space where ASICs can make a meaningful difference to create a sport designed specifically for virtual reality and the virtual space that is built from the ground up, is built specifically for VR. We're not translating from the physical world, like a baseball or a basketball or soccer, whatever game you decide to translate it into virtual reality. Let's meet people where they are. Let's reach people who are using these headsets, using these devices, and give them a sport that they're currently not being offered. So this is a little bit more of the inspiration of where this is coming from. But again, all back to the same idea: sound mind, sound body. What ASIC stands for: anima sana and corpore sana.
And I think that's the perfect use case you mentioned. VR is a weird place for me, right? I think as a normal gaming tool, I don't think it's going to be what people want it to be. I remember the Wii, when the Wii came out, everyone was standing up and playing soccer or bowling and standing up, and then eventually
Yeah,
they sat back on their couches and they were doing everything from their
right.
couches. But working out is a cool, I'm going to call it a niche, even though it's not really, right? But like, you put on a headset and you're playing Disc, or you're playing Beat Saber or The Climb, and you're playing a game, but in reality, you're moving and you're doing things, and it's a workout. It's not a game like a traditional game. And I think it's the perfect medium for that. I think, the first time people play Beat Saber, because I feel like that's the first one people always want to try, and like,
Totally.
it's
Totally.
so smooth, and you just, like you said, once you're in it, like, it doesn't even feel like you're working out anymore. Like, once your mindset is like, all right, I'm doing this, right? Like, it's just this
Totally.
cool experience. And I was surprised. I mean, I feel like other shoe companies have had VR experiences at some point or another, but I love the idea of going with air hockey, because that's a simple that's a simple premise which we all know anyone can pick up and play, right? But now you're looking at it in this whole dynamic where you're moving side to side and you're kind of doing all this. So I'm curious, when it came to disc itself, how did that idea come to be?
Yeah, no, it's a great question, and it's one that is based on a lot of these principles you're mentioning. So like we were looking at the wide range of games, whether it's existing VR games, existing arcade games, sports in general, and really trying to identify what makes sense for VR and what's something that people can understand at face value and just see it, understand it, be able to pick it up and play it immediately while also needing to stay committed and improve at the particular skills and strategies of the game to become an expert and grow in the game. So we were trying to achieve this instant playability and instant fun with long-term skill development and challenge if you care to get good at the sport, um, and be competitive. And so that was really a starting point for us, because we ultimately wanted this to be something that anybody in VR would enjoy. And so air hockey kind of was a little bit further along. We were a little bit further down the path once we that light bulb kind of went off. But where we really started was looking at existing virtual reality games like Beat Saber, like FitXR, like Supernatural, and we really loved this idea of things coming at you in space. And in most of those cases, they're coming at you to the beat of a song, which is choreographed. It's more pure fitness experience. There's a lot of like Peloton, for example, right? Like you're doing a lot of those classes to music. And in our case, we said, okay, can we take this proven idea? Like there's a lot of success in the space with things coming at you and you reacting to them. But what if that thing came at you because somebody threw it at you, hit it at you, very like tennis like, right? Like what other sports are involve an object coming at you? And we looked at baseball, tennis, right? These sports where this object is coming at you and you're reacting. And then to make it really fun for VR and it makes sense for VR, we start to constrain the problem and say, okay, face value, understand it, super easy back and forth. And that's where air hockey came in. It's like it's strikes that balance between arcade game and sport. It's like a little bit of both. And now we translate that into something that is more three-dimensional and tied to tied to sport. So you're defending a goal, you're in a long cube, your opponent is defending a goal directly across from you, and we're hitting the disc back and forth, various types of shots to score goals on each other. Simple pickleball style scoring, that everybody or many people will understand immediately. Win by two, keep it simple.
I,
Here it is.
Simple is great. I think, there's games you jump into tutorials, and tutorials are fine, but then some tutorials go too long, and you're just like, I don't want to play this anymore. If you
Totally.
see it and you can recognize it, right? Maybe it takes a hit or two to kind of understand what you're doing, and then you're good to go. And I love, again, with VR too, because you probably only got what, like an hour or so where people are wearing the mask comfortably. So it's like, how can we make sure we can get them going right off the bat? One thing I found interesting was I was thinking to myself, ASICS making a game doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense. The idea of the game makes sense. And then I saw your email address was Runkeeper, and I remember that from years ago. So I was like, all right, well,
Yeah.
they clearly know apps and they know how to do this. So when ASICS comes up with this idea of, hey, let's make a game, how does that process start? And then I'd like that to
Yeah.
eventually talk into how you decided to partner with Meta.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it starts from, at our core, we're a very innovative company. A lot of people don't realize how much work and effort and science goes into the development and the progress we put into all of our physical products. We're very sophisticated when it comes to innovation, and that has sort of spawned this, you know, innovation and mindset beyond just physical products, right? We're gonna continue to do everything we do well as it relates to our physical products, and we have ambitions to reach people and achieve our mission in different ways. And being innovative to do that is going to require us to do things that aren't necessarily expected of us. And that's where DIS comes in, where we are, of course, trying something very new for the company. That is the whole idea with ventures, right? We have this ventures arm, and we're using it as a vehicle to try new things, get out there and build new skill sets, build new teams, build new business verticals, um, that ultimately may not, succeed in the ways that we envision, or maybe they'll succeed in ways that we don't expect. But I think what's really beautiful about this organization is that we're willing to try and that we're willing to learn and understand where we are, what we do understand and what we don't understand, and what we're good at and what we're maybe need some help at. And so that's where partnering with Meta really came in. And so the Quest platform, for our vision of reaching millions of people for virtual sport, it really was the only option. They definitely today have the greatest market share in VR in a wide ranging ecosystem. And so, what was really also nice about Meta as well is they shared our vision for reaching people through a virtual sport and doing it in the ways that we wanted to do it. And so, it was a really natural partnership. They have a lot of the same goals as us. We want to help people move. We want to help people to engage with this new industry and get moving through it. And so, both from a platform perspective and audience reach and ethos, just sort of like a fit from a vision perspective, was really a natural fit.
I was looking at your LinkedIn. You have a lot of analytics in your history. Are there analytics or things that you're looking at measuring right now? Is this more of a proof of concept? Like, how are you measuring success with this game?
We launched the idea and the concept last September around Meta Connect to establish our Discord community specifically. So the whole call to action at that time was join our Discord. We don't have a game yet. We're going to have a game, but we before we get out there, we want to establish a community first that, again, back to this point about knowing what we know and knowing what we don't know. We wanted to learn from our community and really build this game with them. And so to do that effectively, we needed some lead time and some runway to just build the game, establish community, and then build the game with them. And so that was a huge strategic initiative for us and paid off very well. Over time, we're close to 3,000 people in our Discord right now. They're passionate, they're extremely positive, they see the vision, they support the vision, and we've learned a ton from them in the product development process. So that's the 10 months ago starting point. Back in March, we released the game in open access, which was only available to people through this very private link that we
Mm.
provided, which gave us even further confidence and feedback. And now we've only been in market for about a month on the MetaQuest App Store. So we've been live for a month to the wide world. So it's been a slightly drawn out process, but that has been by design. We wanted to do this the right way, establish the community, take in feedback, release something in private, take in more feedback, and then launch in public. And the way we're measuring this game is engagement to begin with. We want to make sure that people are downloading, enjoying the game, coming back to the game, retaining those users. And then ultimately there will be profitability and revenue expectations as well that we'll use to reinvest in the game and make it better. But for now, we're just really focused on engaging people, expanding gameplay, improving gameplay to really increase those top of funnel metrics, acquisition, retention specifically.
That's so cool about the community. And obviously, it makes a lot of sense. Again, you come from a running background where you have running groups, and these communities already exist. And community has been this big thing in gaming for the past 10 years or whatever, maybe more than that as well, where, people, and not every studio is doing it, but they release games early like you guys did, right? Get that feedback, hear how the game is working, and let the community help shape it to become what you
Yes.
want. And then they're going to be more engaged, you're going to be playing more in it. So, was that just a best practice you've gotten from experience at ASICS and Runkeeper and all this other stuff? I know you have your yoga app, or is this something you've heard from like Meta saying, "Hey, you might want to do this. This is the best practice."
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of all of that. The part of leading this project for me has been taking my own personal experiences and applying them to the strategy. And it is one thing I did learn with my online yoga startup, Ice Water Yoga, which um, it was I'll say it in short, I learned a lot by making a lot of mistakes with that project, which in a lot of cases, people's first startups are like that, and made a lot of good calls, made a lot of not so good calls with that startup. And looking at the space more broadly, we noticed that there were a lot of brands launching games without building the community first. And I think from our perspective, we were thinking we don't want to launch this game completely in a vacuum. And even more importantly, we don't want to develop this game in a vacuum. We want ultimately to test our assumptions. And in the case of our specific project, we knew that we were inventing. We were doing something in a space that we don't have a long history in. And so there are going to be, by definition, a lot of things that we don't know. And so what we wanted to do is attract people who do know and then invent on their behalf. There is some reading between the lines and making sense and specific decisions and actions out of rough qualitative type feedback. And that's work, right? You need to listen and you need to empathize and you need to distill and then ultimately make a decision and a resource allocation to make those things real and tangible. But it really comes down to, I think, just at a core, just being empathetic and understanding our own limitations, and knowing that we want to be here for the long term, which means we're going to need to establish a really strong foundation to do that successfully.
In the VR space, would you say you had any cool learnings over this past year? From I guess you've had many cool learnings, but if you had to kind of rank like holy shit type of moments, are there anything that
Uh,
comes to mind?
yeah, good one. Yeah, I think the one of the big insights that for me at least is it's a very like extremely passionate community. It's not the biggest. I will. That's another learning is VR is still relatively niche. I mean, it's tens of millions of people, but relative to sort of like the mobile app ecosystem, for example, right? It's much smaller, and so you kind of have this very small but mighty type dynamic where the people who believe in it really believe in it, and they're the I'd say of within that sort of learning is a lot of people in my experience come for not necessarily just the game but the social aspects of these games, and so that was a big learning for me. It's not I didn't understand that going into the development process, and it makes sense though, right? It's a way for you to it's the VR specifically gives this very unique ability to both in with one device, you put it on your head, you have this app store filled with games with different interests, different types of people, different interest groups, different demographics, etc., that you can instantly engage with. It's almost built for social in a way. Um, and I think that's a really powerful thing where I've been in these games and just, what's really shocked me was how people will just come up to you and say hi, you know, and at first I was like very taken aback. I'm like, me? Like you're talking to me? Like what? Like am I? Do I say something back? And it's a little. At first, it's a little jarring, but over time, you kind of get used to it. I think that's the biggest learning for me is the social dynamics that are so powerful in the space.
Yeah, it's like a awkwardness, right? It's just like you don't know if they're
Yeah,
talking to someone behind you because there's that people all around. It's just kind of like, all right, well, the thing is, just like the beauty of online, it's also the nightmare of online. Is there's this level of anonymity. I'm really bad at
yeah,
that word, right? Where
yeah.
it's just like you don't know who I am. I'm just this character on the screen, and I think people need to embrace that. Like, don't be a dick, but like you don't have to be shy, and it's hard, but it's like, and that's a terrible way to word it, right? But you can be yourself
I know
and
what you
be
mean.
you can be
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I totally know what you mean. There is a awkwardness at first, but then it's just like anything else, really. It's just because we're not physically in the same place doesn't mean the same social dynamics don't apply, right? Like
Mhm.
you can be polite and you can have a conversation and you can learn something about somebody that you would have never met otherwise, right? Very conveniently, like
Yeah,
you know,
very convenient.
like you're wherever in the world, and I put on a headset, and now you're embodied in this virtual space, and we can have a conversation and do something together.
Mhm.
Pretty powerful thing. And in our case, right, to be able to, you know, give you the ability to throw on a headset and play a pickup game of disc with whoever in the world, we're just so pumped about that concept because in my personal experience, right, like going and playing a pickup basketball game or going and playing a pickup whatever game, going for a run with a buddy, it's some of the coolest social experiences that I have in my life where like we have this shared interest that is physically good for us, mentally good for us, and we get this social benefit on top of it. It's just this super powerful experience where within 30 minutes you feel so full. Uh, that's an experience we really want to deliver.
It's a win-win-win.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So, and as a global company, connecting people and engaging people through physical activity globally is a really powerful idea for us. We're a lot of our business is based on regions. So we have the North American region, the European region, the Japanese region, Australia, et cetera. And those markets exist in physical places that have their own distribution and their own product lines and categories, et cetera. And in this case, it's one of the only tools and services we offer that truly is global.
Mhm.
It's a singular product that reaches a global audience, which is very different from our core business. A lot of our products are seen in different regions, but the marketing is different, or the the product set is different, and the seasonality shifts, right? So um, that's another aspect for us where we can continually improve this game while reaching a global audience at the same time, simultaneously.
Yeah, it's wonderful when you need a lack of localization because the game is just visual, right? There's
Straightforward.
no words.
Straight,
It's
yeah,
like, right, you
exactly.
could be from two different countries, speak two different languages, not know anything, and it doesn't matter. You both know the rules of the game. There's no talking needed. It's, I mean, you can talk, I'm sure,
Yeah, you can.
that's the beauty of it, right? It's anyone can play anyone, and I think that's the coolest part of it. It's an even playing field.
Yeah, exactly, and it's gonna take a little bit to get good, and we're excited to continue to improve the game. I think what you see in this store today is we're very, very proud of. The beauty of it is it's the live operation side of it is what really makes it powerful. It's like this isn't once you make a shoe and ship a shoe and it's sitting on your, you know, retail shelf, it is the shoe.
With
It's
no live
not
ops
gonna change.
specials, hey, it's
Yeah.
Christmas edition of the shoe.
Yeah. Well, that I guess that's the thing too, but that's what's exciting for this is it's a evolving product that is never done. Like that's the, again, it's the that idea I think is a really exciting one for us as well because it's just so different and the growth opportunity is so large if we get it right. So
I'm
yeah,
just so curious on your background because, like, live ops is a known entity thing now. People know what live ops is, but you're a shoe company, and it's just like, did you know live ops before coming into this?
sort of where maybe my role at the company is maybe slightly unique and my background is slightly unique for an ASICS where um, yeah, I'm definitely aware of live ops and building digital products. And that's I think the purpose of my team is to understand and have expertise in areas that the company isn't necessarily well steeped in. And there are definitely that we have a very strong digital division and very like to your point, Run Keeper, right? Like these people also very much understand the reality of live ops.
Yeah,
So like I'm not
that's fair.
alone. I'm definitely not alone. But I think where my perspective is maybe a little bit unique is building products completely from scratch, and that's where these ideas like establishing the Discord community early, being passionate about live ops, being passionate about getting to market as fast as we can to begin iterating as fast as we can. Like these types of things are what make the ventures team unique specifically. And so yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call myself like the most hardcore gamer, but I think a lot of these any digital product is very similar in that you launch with an idea, you learn from your early community, you iterate to achieve product market fit. Like it's all very, very similar.
What's been the most difficult part of this endeavor for you?
Building a game is hard. Um, that's for sure. I think I mean, I kind of alluded to this earlier, but this you never have perfect information when you're building something completely brand new. And so there is this balance of having enough quantitative support, qualitative insight that creates this band and this spectrum of decisions that make sense. But then within that spectrum, it's the narrowness or uh, breadth of that spectrum can be really wide or really narrow, and making instinctive decisions that you believe are correct, but not knowing.
When it comes to disc, you mentioned live ops a number of times. Have you started thinking about what the next season or iteration looks like? Have you kind of started building out those plans?
Yeah, yeah, we have a number of features coming into the app soon. We're really excited about giving people some fun stuff to wear in the
Nice.
game. So that's coming soon. We have another game mode that's currently set to coming soon in the game, so it's intentionally grayed out. It's our arcade mode. Um, that'll be a really interesting single player experience that um, we think is going to be really fun. More intended to get the heart rate up, get you moving, get you help you both practice the skills of disc while getting a exercise kind of snippet experience where you can pop in, play for 10 minutes, get your heart rate up, feel good, not necessarily need to socialize, right? Like there are benefits to being able to just give somebody a single player experience as well. And so really that arcade mode will be that single player experience that we think will really improve gameplay. And then the other stuff, we're intentionally leaving the slate a little bit blank where we do want to capture some early data on what people are enjoying quantitatively, qualitatively, and what they're lacking, what they really want to do more of this invention. Like we're going to have to live in this different levels of opacity space for a long
Hmm.
time until we really find it and it becomes 0% opacity and then we can just fully go. Um, and that's exciting. I mean, the building process and the being on and out there process is one I'm really excited about. It's taken us a while to get here, so we've really earned this ability to be in live ops mode.
I don't know if full opacity ever comes. Just
Yeah, probably never.
it's a moving
Yeah,
target. It's like the Twinkie
yeah,
at the end of the stick.
yes, yeah, the Twinkie, yeah, Twinkie carrot,
Like the carrot, I guess. Yeah,
same thing,
we're in
same
healthy
thing,
mode, so
same thing.
carrot. It's a
Yeah,
little
sure,
less fun, but
yeah, yeah, sure.
um,
That's
yeah.
really it for now.
Do you play every day?
Yes,
There you go. That's the
all the
right
time,
answer. No,
all
no
the time.
matter the
I'm
answer.
a, I'm always playing like there's always a new build or something happening.
You're
It's
ready
like the
for
only way. Like we there was a time where we weren't in there every day, and like it's just like I don't know. You need to feel VR. Like you need to
yeah.
be in it to understand and make decisions. So, um, yeah, we get some cool builds going on right now.
I did a podcast yesterday with a gentleman by the name of Adam Boyes. He's been in the industry for a long time. He worked at some studios, and he said they used to sit at the arcade and watch people play their game, but not tell them they worked for the company. And they would just
Oh
take
yeah,
notes on how people would do it. And I think it's similar to sitting down every day and playing your game. Like you need to feel it. You need other people to feel it. It's one thing to be like a armchair expert and be like, no, that's not
yeah,
right. That's not right. But you gotta like feel it. And I don't think enough people know that. Like you got to eat your dog food. You gotta do all this stuff and do it, and then
yeah,
you're gonna put the best product out there.
yeah. The thing is, you get very jaded because
Yeah,
you're in there so often, you understand it, and it makes it hard to understand what a first time user is gonna interpret it as, right?
yeah,
Like, is our assumption that air hockey makes sense at face value true? Makes sense to me, but
yeah.
like, is that true? I don't know. Like,
Only we will see.
we need to see somebody actually go through it and validate that assumption. So, yeah, I think it's a really smart idea. It's just like, yeah, I'm a random guy in the arcade. What do you think of this game? Should I play
Yeah.
it? Yeah,
Well, Joe, I think what you're building is really cool. I think it's awesome. I think it's a great experience for people to be moving again. I think I'm a big proponent of people just moving when playing games, whether it's going outside playing Pokemon Go, or playing VR and playing
well,
disc, right? Like be active, move your body. It's better for everyone. Before we do go today, can you let us know where we can find you, where we can find disc and everything else?
yeah, of course. Yeah, super simple. You can search DISC on the MetaQuest App Store or go to disc.asics.com and all the instructions will be there. So we're excited to see if your listeners in the game. You might run into me. Maybe we could play one on one, see who who takes it. But thank you for the time, man. It was really a pleasure chatting with you, Greg.
No, I appreciate it, Joe. It was awesome. I really love what you guys are doing. We will have links to Disc, to Joe, to ASICS, to all the stuff we talked about on our player driven blog. We'll be putting out content all week on our social media network. So check it out. Joe, again, love what you're doing. Best of luck with it. And hopefully we talk again soon.
Thank you.